And today I would like to share about the factory of industrial safety. What Fortinet is all about, what kind of software and hardware products we provide, and how do we defend the ICS segment, the OT and IT, Information Technologies and Operational Technologies segment. I will begin by saying that the current industry includes a different sub-industries. Basically, all the industries have some critical infrastructures. What do I mean by that? Any building, be it industry, hydropower station, office building, have a certain critical infrastructure. What does it mean? It means that these buildings and these technologies which are being used within these facilities and buildings and within the process of managing the different controllers and other industrial stuff. It's all interconnected and all these devices are communicating with one another. Now we can see the very close convergence of different devices, speaking about the convergence of IT and OT. Why is this happening? Because the cost of efficiency. What do I mean by that? We have to cut costs for the equipment, you have to find the manpower, and you have to decrease the number of people who will be managing these technologies and managing the information protection devices, and this is how you boost efficiency of your operations. And the second factor is lack of skills. What do I mean? That now, I think everybody knows that the person who knows everything about safety, security, about the network security, and how to ensure the operational security. It's a different thing to find it, and it's a difficult, I'm sorry, to find a professional for these fields. And these devices which are being produced for the operational technologies are different from the devices which are being manufactured for the IT. It's a form factor, it's a difference in productivity and other parameters. So again, it's another factor of the convergence between the IT and OT segments. And I think that the regulatory pressure in Russia is one of the main factors, one of the widespread effects which impact operational technologies. You have to install the information protection means and some risk. All of this is being protected in one system, IT and OT. This is what we have right now. For example, in Germany, beginning with 2018, you may know that there is this industry standard 4.0. It's more like the new path of development when these technologies are being converged. We're speaking about the IT segment is directly communicating to the OT segment and vice versa. And when you have this kind of device communication, you have to control some protocols, some events which are moving between these segments and other packets and other data transmission protocols. And out of this, we have main problems. I think many of you have seen these problems. Many of you understand what I'm speaking about. And now we're using the common hardware platforms, which makes sense. The platforms like the communicators, switches, and the workstations, they are working both in the OT and IT segments, which means that we have common threads. While previously we've had a specialized equipment for IT or OT, more controllers, more mini computers. Now they are used intermittently between the two segments. It's about convergence, and I was explaining that it's about openness. Openness is one of the factors, as well as introducing 4.0 industry standard when IT and OT communicating with one another. Along working cycles, it is not a secret to anyone that to be able to introduce a new protection device and install it into industrial segment, it's a big headache when you have some process which has been operating 20 years ago, and then somebody else is coming and saying, okay, let's install this protection device and we will ensure enhanced safety, while your previous process has been working for 20 years without any single problem, then you have to install another protection device. It's quite a controversy. And fees and fines, outsourcing. Outsourcing is could be the double-edged sword because we can train and teach professionals who will be working with a segment or outsource. Yeah, each approach has its own problems and shortcomings and risks. According to Accenture and Fortinet analytical agencies, we have this kind of graphs which had been collected in 2018 for the detected threats aimed against industrial segments. And on the top, we can see that just a malware, just a plain basic malware. Why 77, 45%? Why not 100%? Because these attacks could be combined. Some malware could be a ransomware, it could be, loading some additional code and basically function as a ransomware. Or a phishing attack may be connected with a spyware, for example. Now, Fortinet has been proactively promoting various technologies for the security of the operational technology segment. We have a huge number of different devices. And we have consulting services for protecting the ICS segment. We have different solutions, equipment, and later I will tell you and I'll show you what kind of solutions do we provide for protecting operational technology segment. We also have a model which looks like that, quite interesting name, can be translated as Purdue. This model is basically a benchmark of protecting industrial segment with some juxtaposed information protection device and some IT technologies. Later, I will show you how can you ensure this identity and access management, what kind of tools you may use to ensure this protection based on Fortinet. And I would like to give a couple of words about Fortinet company. In the last year, we've dispatched about 3.5 million devices. We are the #1 in the world in terms of the number of delivered devices. We have over 500 patents in our company, over 5,000 employees. And each year we are issuing more and more patents. Company is growing very, very fast, and the company is investing heavily in new technologies and into manufacturing unique hardware, not only OEM, but it's an in-house development, in-house hardware processors. You may have heard so-called ASICs. Next would be a portfolio of the company. Portfolio is growing year by year. We are expanding. The 40K would be the flagship device based on the 40S. And then we have different other devices and technologies which ensure basically protection at all levels. Be called OC models and logical network devices and on the physical device. We protect clouds, we protect access points, we protect Fortinet, we protect web service, we protect Wi-Fi. We have our own hotspots and our own firewall. And it looks like we have a 40 Wi-Fi. This is how we call it, 40 Wi-Fi, and a sandbox. A sandbox to identify unidentified threats in links in different applications. And of course, analytical system and management. We have a Fort Analyzer and Fortinet Manager for collecting and building or reporting from the Fortinet, as well as managing Fortinet devices, and also FortiCM, which is a separate system which is implementing the function of the full-scale CEM, and actually it's on our stand. You can get more details about that. Speaking about evolution of devices and the work of operational technologies, we can see that we have to make sure that we isolate objects, and then we have relationship by the industrial protocols and cables. Next, we've had some IP connectivity. We had to connect IT and OT. Then we have a convergence. It's our favorite standard or evolution, DAST 340 something. And then we have the so-called connectivity of devices, integration of devices, and we have have to connect both the equipment from the IT side and from the OT side with open protocols and some other systems. And according to Fortinet, in the future, closer to 2030, we are expecting introduction of such a system as machine learning to teach the system. According to the new standard, the system has to have self-monitoring, self-diagnosis. It has to be self-sufficient. And a human operator should not be involved, or should be involved in the minimum level possible. Speaking about the Fortinet security fabric, I guess we are encompassing all technologies and all the devices to protect all possible segments. One of the most important items is that we are supporting integration for API with our partners. To give you more detail, we have different integrations. Number one would be Fabric API. It's basically when a partner who would like to integrate with us, they are writing a piece of code or a script. Fortinet is officially confirming this integration, and we keep working with them. Number two would be DevOps. It's basically development operations, and the developer or you as a customer is writing certain scripts. They may be uploaded on the GitHub service or the Fortinet in our servers, FND also called. And of course, Fabric connectors. It will be native integration with third-party devices. This could be Cisco, this could be HP devices, it could be ElcoSec and other devices. We have a lot of partners who are supporting native integration with us. Speaking about more specialized solutions, you've probably seen that we have a specialized firewalls, rugged firewalls. We have the line of connectors, we have the Wi-Fi access points. Speaking about technologies, we have the specialized database, IPS, application control to identify protocols of industrial level, such as Modbus, OPC, OPCD, EX104, which is actually the part of the national standards, and it's also a team helping to implement all of that, to set it up, to tune it up in our facilities on the level of network and other levels. We are supporting these protocols. Just to let you know, the list is ever expanding. Some of the supported protocols are introduced on the application control level. We have to admit that right now we have a technological partnership with such companies as Siemens. We are getting their protocols. We can analyze and we can write certain signatures just for them. And very often it is happening that manufacturers are changing their protocols. You have to support the manufacturers as well. And the list is growing. Quite interesting. Recently we've tested FortiGate at one of the sites. We've had a very strongly changed Ghost EX104 protocol. We've changed syntaxes, we've changed commands, we've changed the 16 digits in the code, but FortiGate, with a small update, was able to identify all the commands all the way to the parsing of certain parameters. Basically, this is one example. These are signatures and detailing commands for protocols for the EX104 with a detailed level of certain commands. Speaking again about the model, Fortinet is basically covering all the layers. It's a Purdue model, and if everything begins with the FortiGate and switches, we're going up. We're seeing the zone of operators. It's the zone where you can have 40 clients and 40 switched connected. Going up on the levels, it's a 40 CM level, it's a management level, Fort analyzer level. So for each level, we have a technology and a device for that level. Dear colleagues, that was the brief presentation about the Fortinet and how we ensure safety of industrial segments. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them. Yes, it looks like we have a question. Can I just say a couple of more words? My name is Alexey Petukhov from Kaspersky lab. I simply would like to add something to that. Kaspersky and Fortinet are staying in close cooperation. We're using their API and our own API. And I would like to add that within the industrial cybersecurity, we have an ongoing challenge of deeper tasks like industrial systems, industrial protocols, and verification of devices which are interconnecting within a closed contour, like below the Fortinet, which have to be analyzed. Like, do we analyze traffic in the mirror in a passive way? Also, intrusion detection, where we add the signature basis, and here we also have to add the network activity and the rules of network execution, and also the collecting and correlation of the data. So Kaspersky and Fortinet are in the process of integration. In 2020, we will be having the new integrated services and capabilities, which will enable you to use internet, or I would say Fortinet, using Fortinet and Kix for networks, and to befriend them, to do the blocking of a certain external communications. And with each new year, hopefully, we'll be able to building up our capability. Thank you. Yeah. And thank you for your attention. If you have any other questions, dear colleagues, I will answer them. If you have any questions about integration, please come join us at our stand. I'll show you how we can do integration and what will be the future developments. Thank you.